Let's dive into astonishing instances of overloaded vehicles that will truly boggle your mind. Exposing the complete disregard for weight limits, these real-life instances will leave you questioning the lengths people are willing to go to in the name of practicality. The gravity-defying scenarios will keep you on the edge of your seat, all the while hoping for the safe arrival of everyone involved. Are you ready to delve into the realm where the boundaries of transportation sanity are pushed to the limit? Join us as we expose these 20 dangerously overloaded vehicles caught on camera. Number 20. People stuffed in one sedan. On the dusty border dividing Haiti and the Dominican Republic, stories of desperate attempts to cross are very common. Yet none could match the absurdity of the scene that unfolded when vigilant border agents intercepted a small yellow sedan packed with people. It was as if the clown car routine had sprung to life, with 18 individuals contorting and piling on top of each other in a peculiar feat of human magic. Incredible as it may seem, this sedan, which is not designed to accommodate more than 5 passengers, had somehow crammed 3 times that number into its tight confines. Bodies were sandwiched together so closely they caused the roof to cave in under the immense weight and the tires to appear on the brink of bursting. It was a marvel that the old, rusty bucket of a car could even move under such a huge load. However, to the illegal immigrants inside, comfort was a distant concern compared to the eagerness for a better life on the other side of the border. Once the chaotic volley of passengers had subsided, the border agents who stopped them were left to puzzle over how so many could fit inside such a minuscule space. The mental image alone was enough to induce claustrophobia. It was a dizzying, sweaty spectacle, and yet despite the discomfort and the uncertainty of their journey, they pressed on, drawn by the promise of an opportunity that awaited them on the other side of the border. Number 19. Overloaded truck on GT Road. Under the veil of darkness, this massive truck raced down the Grand Trunk Road, or GT Road, of India. We can hear its wheels rumbling and its weight pressing dangerously close to the road. Unfortunately, this sight was all too common on GT Road, which often transformed into a hazardous route after sunset. Overloaded trucks carrying construction materials, textiles, and various goods became an omnipresent danger during these nighttime hours. As these trucks blatantly defied road safety regulations, the real source of frustration lay with the authorities who turned a blind eye to these violations. The consequences of this negligence fell heavily on smaller vehicles, ambulances, motorcycles, and even the road itself. The highways buckled under the tremendous weight, potholes multiplied, and accidents became a grim reality. Until stringent rules were enforced, and the culture of corrupt choices was addressed, GT Road would remain a nightly reminder that justice moved at a snail's pace in certain parts of the country. The ceaseless rumbling of overloaded trucks, with their squeaking chassis, would continue to reverberate on the pavement while officials lined their pockets with ill-gotten gains. It was a disheartening reality that called for urgent reform and accountability. Number 18. Delhi Metro Rush. In the bustling metropolis, the subway system was a constant hive of activity, with crowds surging and growing like an unstoppable tide of people flooding the metro platforms. The rush hour seemed to persist around the clock in this pulsating urban center. The subway network, consisting of 7 lines, tirelessly transported over 20 million passengers each day. Trains arrived at stations every few minutes, disgorging over 1,800 passengers with each stop, only to be replenished by a fresh wave of travelers. 5 trains shuttled in and out of stations every 2 minutes, resulting in an astonishing 30,000 passengers passing through every hour. The metro system, a victim of its own success, struggled to cope with the sheer volume of commuters. The comfort, convenience, and reliability that had made the metro so popular also gave rise to inevitable accidents amid the crush of bodies. One young student shared a harrowing experience at New Delhi Station, where she was knocked down and trampled as she faltered before a surging crowd. Her terrified pleas for help were drowned out by the stampede, leaving her seriously injured once the tide of passengers finally subsided. In the face of these challenges, metro officials responded by adding more cars to each train, while commuters held out hope for courtesy and accident-free journeys. Number 17. Overloaded bicycle. This bicycle is carrying a load that would leave any onlooker astonished. Thanks to a small extension at the rear, it manages to transport a load that's typically reserved for overloading a truck. While it might not be a surprise when it comes to regular vehicles, seeing this feat performed on a bicycle is a rarity. It becomes abundantly clear that this modest vehicle struggles to bear the weight of such an excessive load. When it comes to overloading, we can't simply turn a blind eye regardless of the type of vehicle involved. Whether it's a car, truck, or even a scooter, prioritizing safety is of paramount importance. That means not exceeding weight limits and being cautious about the loads we carry. Safety should always be a top concern. No matter what mode of transportation we're using, we should always prioritize safety and make responsible choices to avoid accidents and ensure the well-being of everyone on the road. Number 16. Overloaded passenger vessel. The passenger ship, named the Magna, sailed through the foreboding gray waters that mirrored the overcast sky. Despite the turbulent currents, the vessel was crammed with passengers, gleaming white against the gloomy backdrop. Its 4 levels were packed with people, leaving little room to spare. Many passengers clung to the edges of the deck of this strained ship, struggling to maintain their balance as it rocked unpredictably. It was evident that the ship was dangerously overloaded, unable to support the multitude of bodies on board. Seating was scarce, and most passengers had to stand due to the lack of available seats. The captain, seemingly unconcerned, was solely focused on reaching the distant shore as swiftly as possible. The atmosphere among the passengers was somber and tense, with most avoiding eye contact as they endured the uncomfortable proximity of others. Towards the rear of the vessel, a worried mother tightly held her young son while anxiously scanning the surrounding waters. Despite the reassurances from the crew, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were sailing in perilous conditions. There simply weren't enough life jackets or rafts to accommodate everyone on board. She gazed nervously at the dark waters just feet below, fervently hoping and praying that their journey would remain calm and uneventful. In those crowded and chaotic waters, any misfortune could spell doom for them, casting their fates as ominously as the clouds looming overhead. Number 15. The crushed truck. Trucks are undoubtedly built to handle heavy loads, but what we couldn't have predicted is that some of these sturdy vehicles would face the unexpected fate of being crushed under the weight they carry. In these images, we see a compact truck attempting to navigate a bustling road while burdened with an enormous mountain of sacks, a towering heap that stands 4 times its own height. As the footage continues, the impending disaster becomes increasingly evident. There's no denying that the truck is struggling under the immense load, a burden that appears to far exceed its intended capacity. It's unclear whether the driver foresaw the looming issue, but the truck persists, visibly tilting to one side. Unfortunately, it meets the expected outcome as it crashes into the roadside corner, leaving bystanders in absolute awe of the unfolding spectacle before their eyes. This incident serves as a vivid reminder of the importance of adhering to load limits and practicing caution on the road. It's not just the safety of the vehicle that's at stake, but also the well-being of those in and around it. Number 14. Tractor with its front wheels up. Under the unforgiving midday sun, we came into contact with Old Reliable, a battle-tested Massey Ferguson 240 tractor. Affixed to its robust frame was a towering cart, a formidable stack of sugarcane that seemed impossibly high. This precarious peak swayed precariously with every bump and rock encountered on the rugged countryside terrain. Behind the wheel sat an experienced farmer, a seasoned hand who inspected the ambitious loading with a sense of pride. He knew that his loyal companion, Old Reliable, was primed and ready for the task at hand. With a deep breath, he shifted the tractor into gear, causing its engine to roar to life and belch black smoke into the oppressive air. As the wheels churned, they began their steady progress, inching forward step by determined step. As they passed, the mighty tractor's tires kicked up clouds of dust, demonstrating its unwavering commitment as it hauled the overloaded cart. Despite the cart's occasional lurching and swaying behind it, the tractor pressed on, undaunted. Old Reliable had faced far more challenging conditions in its lifetime, and it showed no signs of giving in. Although it may have been small in size, This scrappy tractor was a true powerhouse, a relentless workhorse from start to finish. With its unwavering strength, it would ensure the safe delivery of the precious harvest, just as it had done time and time again. Number 13. Stuck under Flyover. A diverse array of vehicles shared the Uttar Pradesh highway. Among them, you could find everything from compact three-wheeled cars to colossal trucks heavily laden with agricultural bounty. In this bustling mix of vehicles, one particular truck stood out, adorned in a striking combination of white and red. This vehicle was a towering behemoth, laden with freshly cut sugarcane. The sugary stalks soared above the truck's cabin, their leaves rustling gently in the passing breeze. The driver, seemingly oblivious to the limited space on the road, had packed his cargo with little regard for free space. As a result, the sugarcane overflowed from the sides of the truck, creating a swaying green tower as the truck rumbled down the highway, drawing closer to a low overpass. The road stretched ahead, and the driver paid it little heed until an unsettling scraping sound filled the air. The top layer of sugarcane had wedged itself against the unyielding concrete underside of the overpass. With a suddenness that jolted everyone on the road, the truck came to an abrupt halt. Its front wheels lifted off the road surface as the sheer weight of the load tilted the entire vehicle upward. In a surreal sight, the truck now rested at a dangerous 20-degree angle, its front grille pointed skyward. The bewildered driver, flabbergasted by the predicament, hastily swung open the door and peered upward at the massive green tower, immobilizing him. Shouting and gesturing desperately, his efforts yielded no success. Nearby motorists couldn't help but slow down to gawk at the bizarre spectacle unfolding before them. Surprisingly, neither transportation authorities nor other drivers intervened, leaving the driver to grapple with the situation on his own. After a frustrating hour of fruitless maneuvering, the driver finally flagged down a passing tractor for assistance. Together, they worked to free the stuck truck from its leafy burden and the clutches of the unforgiving overpass. Slowly, the overloaded truck inched across the sweltering desert terrain as the sun rose over the arid landscape. Number 12. Heavy-loaded truck. This mid-sized truck is navigating the rural hillside, its tires rumbling along the dusty dirt road beneath a worn white tarpaulin. The cargo on board was stacked precariously high, extending well beyond the truck's cab. As the road curved sharply to the left, ascending a steep wooded hill at a challenging angle, the driver had to ease off the accelerator, causing the truck's gears to screech in protest. The engine roared, but progress up the incline was slow. It was clear that the overloaded vehicle was struggling to conquer the ascent. Recognizing the risky situation, two assistants swiftly exited the truck's cab, ready to aid the driver in navigating the treacherous curve. With focused determination, they ran alongside the struggling truck, their arms waving urgently to signal the driver on how to maneuver through the complex bend. The sheer weight of the load bore down heavily on the chassis as the helpers shouted words of encouragement to the driver, who dutifully responded to their guidance by manipulating the steering wheel and pedals. Time seemed to stretch on endlessly as the truck inched its way up the hill. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the truck conquered the summit. There was no time for celebration, though. As soon as the truck completed its arduous climb, the assistants wasted no time in giving chase. With the vehicle disappearing rapidly from their view, they followed it diligently along the winding rural road. Number 11. On risky Ghat downturns. Prepared for the challenging journey that lay ahead, this driver steered his overloaded truck through treacherous descents and narrow passes of the Ghat downturns with unwavering focus. Each twist and turn demanded his complete attention, since the slightest error could send his powerful truck hurtling over the steep cliffs that bordered the road. The steering wheel became an extension of his will as he deftly maneuvered through the sharp curves of the downhill grade. The immense weight of the truck exerted significant strain on its axles, causing it to lean dangerously with each turn. The overloaded cargo audibly shifted with every dip and rise in the road. Nevertheless, the driver remained stoic and resolute, pressing onward, his nerves exposed but unshaken. As the road descended, it leveled out onto a thick bed of mud. The truck plowed through the sticky muck, splattering its windows and slipping and sliding as it pushed through the clay-like terrain. Having triumphed over the perilous climbs, the mud-soaked vehicle emerged victorious. Number 10. Truck in distress. While the sight of a crushed truck due to excessive loading isn't an uncommon one, let's delve into a scenario that takes overload to a whole new level, a scene that's nothing short of astonishing. In this video, we're introduced to a truck that's had enough of its driver's overloading antics. Frustration builds, and the truck decides to take matters into its own hands, or rather its own wheels. It begins to move in reverse, sliding backward as a clear expression of its discontent. It eventually climaxed in a catastrophic crash of such magnitude that the full extent couldn't even be captured on camera. It might seem like an unexpected twist, but the story serves as a stark reminder of the paramount importance of taking proper precautions when operating vehicles, particularly larger ones like trucks. It's a cautionary tale that emphatically underlines the significance of prioritizing road safety and remaining acutely aware of the grave consequences that can result from negligence. This incident, while humorous in its own way, drives home the message that safety should always be the top priority on the road for the well-being of drivers, passengers, and everyone sharing the streets. Number 9. Abu Dhabi crowded bus. In the heart of Abu Dhabi, the scorching sun engaged in a fiery dance with the road, transforming the bustling bus station into an impromptu tango stage. As the bus came to a hissing halt, the eager crowd, desperate to escape the relentless solar revelry, surged toward the narrow doors, morphing into a tightly packed human funnel. Stepping onto the bus felt like stepping into a sauna on wheels. Passengers were crammed together like sardines, their collective scent resembling a unique blend of their favorite perfumes and sweat. With each new stop, more people squeezed in, turning the bus into a living masterpiece of abstract art. If Picasso had painted with people, this bus ride would have been his magnum opus. Space was a luxury that only ants seemed to afford. At every stop, a new contortionist seemed to emerge, as passengers twisted and turned in ways they didn't know they were capable of. In the back, a tech-savvy passenger was live-streaming the Olympics, where synchronized swimming was the last event of the day. Outside the bus, skyscrapers loomed like giants, seemingly snickering at those on the ground. For the people packed inside the bus, it was difficult too. A grandmother clung to a pole as if it were her dance partner in a never-ending tango, swaying with each abrupt stop. It was a survival game. Thousands were suffocated, trapped, and squished aboard the Abu Dhabi Express, where every journey became an unforgettable adventure, testing the limits of patience and resilience. Number 8. Overloaded sugarcane truck. Ora Road bore witness to a dramatic collision, a high-stakes encounter between an overloaded 12-wheeler and a towering pyramid of freshly cut sugarcane. In this tense standoff, the aging truck grumbled and groaned under the weight, seemingly rebelling against its role in this risky situation. The load, perched precariously above the driver's cab, resembled a chaotic heap of sugarcane stalks, poised to tumble at any moment. The ropes straining to contain this unruly mass creaked under immense pressure, an endeavor similar to trying to halt a tidal wave with a toothpick. The driver, drenched in sweat and fraught with anxiety, cast a nervous glance in the rearview mirror, fully aware of the impending disaster. However, driven by an insatiable production quota, the foreman urged them to push the limits. During this tense standoff, while the truck idled, the rebellion of sugarcane reached its breaking point. The ropes finally gave way, unleashing a torrent of sugarcane stalks that crashed down with a resounding roar. The once tranquil road now transformed into a perilous obstacle course, strewn with fallen sugarcane. The overloaded truck teetered dangerously close to losing its balance, but with a clatter and a jolt, it crashed to the ground, narrowly averting a catastrophe. When the dust finally settled, it was a scene of chaotic aftermath, a vivid illustration of the risks and perils faced by those who dared to test the limits of their vehicles and the roads they traveled. Number 7. Vehicle abuse. This footage unveils a small tricycle truck, seemingly poised for a journey. Unfortunately, it becomes evident that this tricycle isn't going anywhere. The driver, perhaps unaware of safe loading limits, has pushed things far beyond the brink, And there is yet another casualty of overloading, as the hapless truck meets its untimely demise. While the truck itself might be replaceable, the repercussions for the oblivious driver are substantial. They'll not only grapple with the emotional toll of witnessing the tragic end of their faithful vehicle, but also face potential job loss due to their role in this overloading disaster. This would cause a significant setback, but it serves as a stark reminder of what can occur when individuals fail to recognize the limits. It's a cautionary tale, urging us all to exercise prudence and responsibility, lest we find ourselves in a similar predicament. Number 6. Hillier Helix. We've come to realize that no vehicle is exempt from the issue of overloading, and even the resilient Helix finds itself entangled in this unfortunate predicament. The sight of its severe overload is enough to evoke a sense of bitterness, underscoring the ordeal that poor Helix must endure. You can see the struggling Helix on the road, burdened with materials of various sizes. Even if it were a truck, this load would still be excessive. It's a perplexing sight, leaving us questioning how the vehicle ended up in such a dire state and what the driver was thinking under these circumstances. There's a significant likelihood that this vehicle may not successfully complete its journey in this condition. It's crucial to consider the repercussions of overloading vehicles. Not only does it jeopardize the safety of those on board, but it also places immense stress on the vehicle itself. The structure and integrity of the vehicle become compromised, elevating the risk of accidents, breakdowns, and potential damage to the cargo or the surrounding environment. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. Prepare to be astounded by this captivating image, one that may very well challenge your perception. What you're witnessing here isn't a gathering of industrious ants, but, believe it or not, a real-life train in Bangladesh. This train, crammed to its absolute limit, appears to have defied all conventional logic and transformed its passengers into human-sized ants. As you gaze upon this astonishing scene, you'll see people crammed inside every available space, clinging to the ceiling, grasping window handles, and even obstructing the windshield. It's almost as if they've tapped into their inner ant instincts and created a moving ant colony. This is one of the most dangerously overloaded vehicles caught on camera. It's truly nothing short of a miracle that these individuals managed to board that train. However, it's crucial to emphasize that safety should always be a top priority. This image serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of preserving human life and ensuring that everyone reaches their destination in one piece. What are your thoughts about the colonies of people on this train? Are you as amazed as we are? Or do you have your own theories about how this astonishing sight came to be? Let's hear from you in the comments section. Number 5. Overloaded with Empty Pallet. A white truck thundered down Bermuda Street, a reluctant giant bearing an enormous cargo of lumber. Its huge tires rumbled over the road, threatening to dislodge the towering stacks of wooden pallets carelessly perched on its bed. These pallets, stacked to heights that seemed almost to high-five the underpasses they passed beneath, flew in all directions as the truck wove its way through the slower-moving traffic. Sensible drivers on the road wisely maintained a safe distance from this lumber-laden beast, anticipating the impending disaster that seemed imminent with each wobble of the cargo. The sheer weight of the load bore down heavily on the vehicle's suspension, pushing it to the brink with every gentle curve in the road. The pallet stacks twisted and swayed, contorting the truck's frame and making it struggle to maintain balance. Watching this spectacle was like witnessing a high-wire act at the circus, with the audience collectively holding its breath, waiting for the grand finale of a potential and catastrophic collapse. Against all odds, the overloaded truck managed to defy gravity, keeping its cargo intact and sparing both traffic lanes and drivers from a chaotic rain of wood. Nevertheless, it was impossible to deny the heart-pounding tension that gripped anyone who witnessed this recklessness. Number 4. From field to road. In rural Pakistan, another day dawned for a farmer embarking on the adventure of transporting his precious crop to market. It was a daily ritual that required ingenuity and skill, and his trusty companion for this journey was a small tractor. The challenge was to move a towering stack of produce that outweighed the vehicle by 9 times. With a quick prayer to the tractor gods, he set his plan in motion. The The small motor roared to life, and he inched the tractor forward, guiding the ridiculously stacked load. As he did, the front of the tractor rose, almost like an eager puppy begging for a treat. Skillfully, he modulated the throttle, bringing the front wheels back to the ground, all the while maintaining a delicate balance as he coaxed the precariously loaded trailer along the dirt road toward the city. He knew the old farm roads like the back of his hand, navigating them with an expert eye to avoid potholes and any uneven terrain that could disrupt the delicate tower of crops. Kilometer by kilometer, he advanced, fully focused on the task of keeping his bounty stable. Approaching the market, other drivers gave him a wide berth, a mix of amazement and slight worry evident on their faces as they watched the imposing payload teetering precariously behind the diminutive tractor. Yet this farmer took immense pride in his ability to get his crops to market, using just his small tractor and his creative stacking skills. It was a reflection of the resourcefulness displayed by farmers in the developing world who improvised ways to transport heavy loads, relying on knowledge and techniques passed down through generations rather than advanced technology. Number 3. Dizzy Tricycle. A family of 3 can be seen crammed onto this tricycle, and it's teetering dangerously due to the weight of the luggage piled up behind them. This is a serious overload here, with the little vehicle seemingly pleading for mercy. The captivating scene was captured in China during the summer of 2012, and it's one for the books. Though one can imagine the tricycle groaning under the strain, it's safe to say the family on board probably wasn't having the time of their lives. Overloading is simply not worth risking your safety for the sake of carrying a little extra cargo. Let this amusing yet cautionary tale serve as a reminder for us all to prioritize safety and make responsible decisions when it comes to loading and transporting goods. It's a lesson in ensuring that every journey, no matter how challenging, remains safe and secure. Number 2. Insane Indian boats. The scary clip we're about to delve into depicts an immense ship teeming with passengers, and in fact, some individuals can be spotted clinging to the balconies, clinging to the hope of making their journey. It's nothing short of remarkable to witness the extraordinary lengths to which people are willing to go in order to reach their destinations, even if it means risking their safety on board an overloaded ship. In situations like these, it's painfully apparent that the potential for a perilous incident looms large. Overloading, unfortunately, is all too common, particularly on Indian ships. The crowded scenes where passengers scramble to board these vessels, often lacking proper maintenance and safety equipment, contribute to the grim reality that shipwrecks are far from uncommon in places like this. Surveying this overwhelming overpopulation, one can't help but wonder if these ships are bound for heaven or if the fares are offered free of charge. The rationale behind this mind-boggling overload disaster remains elusive, regardless of the angle from which you approach it. Number 1. The Miraculous Motorcycle. This image captures what appears to be a family relying on a motorcycle for transportation, a common sight in certain regions. The sheer number of family members squeezed onto this motorcycle makes the sight remarkable. Atop the bike, you'll count approximately 10 people. There are clever extensions on either side of the motorcycle, ingeniously accommodating 3 children. It's as if the bike has sprouted extra limbs to support this incredible load. These extensions, seemingly crafted from improvised materials, provide just enough space for the children to sit safely. One can't help but worry about the safety of the members of this family. The overloaded bike tilts ever so slightly under the weight, and every turn or bump in the road carries greater risk. We can only hope that their trip proceeds without incident and that they reach their destination unharmed. Though it seems like some people do not have a better choice, we must learn to make safer transportation efforts, as overloading mostly leads to dangerous outcomes.